I was going to make individual videos about every game like this that I beat, but as it turns out, I couldn't beat them all, so I just mushed them together into this video.
The Bouncer.
The Bouncer's great. It's got an interesting visual style, great cutscenes that somehow feel like they have way too much bloom for its time, but far less than I'm used to nowadays, and decent variety in environments for a brawler. It's not really urban in the sense that it's specifically trying to imitate actual places in real life, but it's definitely leaning into some sort of realistic fashion, and there's way too many tribal tattoos in this game for it to not count. Good God, I need Volt's jacket. I need it! And its short length made me more inclined to play it over and over to see what the game was like between the three playable characters. I can even say that the story was pretty good in my opinion. Really, the only thing holding the Bouncer back is its actual gameplay. It's not even the majority of its mechanics. The ragdoll physics are hilarious, and since most of the enemies don't have massive super armor or iframes on their attacks, the basic combat is manageable once you have a handle on the controls. But the controls really let the game down. Pressure-sensitive buttons with the sensitivity of a fly's leg hairs is rough, but L1 on the default control scheme lets you use either set of attacks on each button fairly well. The problem with this is the moves you can unlock for each character, which are performed by pressing the L1 button and a face button. If you unlock a move, you can't use the L1 button for light button presses anymore. For the first time in my life, I found an upgrade system that makes the game worse. Not in the sense that it makes your character overpowered, but in the sense that the game becomes less playable overall. Especially with the moves that are fundamentally broken, like Volt's back suplex. It's fine when it works, but if it touches a human character on a bad angle even a little bit, the character just crumbles. Overall, very urban, very brawly, lacks polish even for a launch title for the PS2, and puts way too much focus on the controller's gimmicks. Can't wait to see Sion and Co. in the next Kingdom Hearts.
Dead to Rights Reckoning.
If you played one Dead to Rights game, it seems like you've played them all. Still, this was fun for 2 hours. Unfortunately, you can probably clear everything except the last mission in half that time. Reckoning's basically a launch game for the PSP, and it could only be a launch game because if something like this was made down the line for the system, it would probably be a minigame or a bargain release. Oh, fun fact, Dead to Rights 2 and Reckoning were prequels to the original Dead to Rights, with Reckoning being the earliest game in the series chronologically. The series never moved forward apparently, since the last game they made for it was a reboot. It reminds me of some other series that kind of worked themselves into a corner. Overall, very urban, not a lot of brawling, unless you count mauling. Play this and you'll be a Dead to Rights master like me. Streets of Rage 4... Okay, that's enough of that. I like Streets of Rage 4. Death by Degrees. Why didn't anyone tell me this was just Code Veronica? I can't believe they made it Code Veronica. I cannot believe they made it Code Veronica. Why would they make it Code Veronica? I can't believe they made this Code Veronica. Hard pass. For now. Slash Out. Shut up, it's based on Spike Out, it counts. Pretty neat setup, decent level design, decent moves overall. The magic system is great since it's free and you just have to charge it, but a game with jumps this laggy has no justification to ask players to hit mid-air targets. Between that, the boss's dependence on super armor, and the lackluster enemies which are somehow more generic than the tough guys that show up in Spike Out, the game's lacking a lot of polish, although it also has a lot of potential. Overall, barely urban, very brawly, name drop it for gamer cred in your Discord channel of choice. Urban Reign. Come on, you know how I feel about it. I made a whole video about it. Very urban, very brawly, arguably one of the greatest arena fighters slash 1v1 fighters slash brawlers of all time. It's a shame Namco never went back to this format for their other ill-fated attempts at 3D action. Man, 2000 street games, huh? Wild how even back then a lot of them didn't seem worth trying. But at least some good games came out of the trend, much like how whatever trends that are hot nowadays tend to lead to at least one good game or two every year. Anyway, Urban Brawler month is over. Maybe next time I'll actually make some preparations before I go off half-cocked on something like this. Whatever, bye-bye.